From his studios in New York, it's time for Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets life. Here's your host, Dan Tortora.
Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora on WakeUpCallDT.com, your one-stop sports shop, and on MixLR.com/WakeUpCallDT. We are here every single Wednesday at 10:30 a.m. Eastern Time inside of Wake Up Call with a special segment that proudly features Syracuse Orange women's basketball head coach Quentin Hillsman, who is more well-known to you as Coach Q simply, and I'm very happy always to have Coach Q on the broadcast and here with me. We get to do a show every single month of the season at the PressRoom Pub. We're looking forward to announcing that for you very, very soon here, and every single Wednesday at 10:30 a.m. we get to speak with one another on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora here on the live line. So make sure that you're tuning in every single Monday through Friday, and of course, tuning into this segment. We appreciate you being here today. So with that being said, let's bring him on to the broadcast. Coach Q, how are we doing today?
I'm doing fantastic. How are you?
I'm doing very well. And Q, you started off ACC play with 2 road games. You won both of those road games, so just bring me into those 2 games. You were at Clemson, won 84-75, and then you got one against Virginia Tech on the road in Blacksburg as well in overtime, 75-73. Bring me into the start of the ACC play for you.
Man, just really excited, man, to start off with 2 road wins. This conference is so tough, and I think that you can get into this pattern to where you start to concentrate on your home games, and of course, which is very important. But man, to get these wins on the road, those are priceless, because you have to have some road wins to be able to be a good team late in the season, to be able to get the right seeding in the conference tournament, and obviously looking forward to NCAA tournament. Road wins are huge. So just very proud of our players, man. They really fought hard. We're on the road. We stayed out for an extended road trip, and we didn't come home, and we were just sleeping in hotels and practicing in different gyms. But man, what a tough group of ladies, man, to really fight through that.
And when you see that, like you said, you didn't come home, you just stayed on the road, just what that did for this team. You had a game on January 3rd, you had one on January 6th, so from Clemson, South Carolina, over to Blacksburg, Virginia, just how you saw the team handle that, being away from home and being able to stay on the road, and obviously you're practicing in environments that aren't your home environment, not stuff that you're used to. You want to be able to go back and kind of regroup, but you guys stayed on the road. How did you see the team handle that, and just bring me into the environment of staying out there and saying, you know what, let's take care of these 2 before we come back?
I'll be honest with you, man. They handled it just like a veteran team would. They really did an awesome job of just being focused and being task oriented, which was really about winning the games. And it's no science to this thing when you're on the road, because you're definitely in different situations, in different gyms, different states, different hotels. I mean, it's just nothing is there. There's no pattern to it. There's nothing that's consistent. And the one thing that I can say that they did a really good job of just being task oriented, which is winning the games.
And when you see those victories come through, like you said, in a very tough conference in the ACC, to get those 2 victories, to get them both on the road, back to back, just what that does for your program, what it does for you inside of the conference. You made a statement from the jump, and you made it against Clemson, you made it against Virginia Tech. Just what you could say about the quality of opponent that you got these victories over.
Well, I can tell you what, this conference is different now. There are no easy nights, and I think that people can look at teams like Clemson, and Clemson not being a team that's been finishing really high in the standings in our conference, but they have talent, and they're very good basketball teams, and they have good coaches, and they have just players that can beat you if you don't come to play. And so the quality is what it is, man. It's just about going out and playing the right way, playing hard, and playing solid basketball.
Speaking here with Coach Q, Quentin Hillsman, the head coach of Syracuse Orange women's basketball. Coach, when we look through the season thus far for you, you played in 2 overtime games. You've won them both. You had an overtime game to finish off the Cancun Challenge against DePaul, who was ranked in the top 16 in the nation at the time. And then you had most recently the game inside of ACC play and conference play on the road at Virginia Tech. Just what you could say about that extra period and seeing your team gut it out, because it's tough to play all 4 quarters, but it's even tougher to have a little bit more gas than the other team at the end of it. 2 overtime games, 2 overtime wins. Bring me into it.
Well, first of all, it says a lot about our strength and conditioning staff and our medical staff, because Karen and Ryan have done a really good job of keeping our kids healthy and keeping them in shape. So that's the first thing I think. And secondly, is just toughness of our kids, and they really came to play. And we don't, we tell them the truth. We keep it real with them and say, hey, this is a way for you to step into a situation on the court and you control your own destiny, which is winning the game. They came out and just won the games. They weren't pretty, the games were sloppy at times, but they really did a really good job of digging in and getting the W's.
What can you say about the team right now? Overall, you're ranked in the top 12. You're 12th in both the AP and in the coaches poll, and you're regarded in this, the early NCAA tournament bracketology prognostication and whatnot. They have you as a top 3 seed. Just what you could say about, nationally, what type of respect this team is getting.
Well, first of all, it's all earned. No one gave these kids anything. We're programming, and it pretty much started over with our roster over the last 2 years. I think that we get to the situation where we look at our team and say, this is a really good basketball team, and they play hard and they play together. But we're a very young team, and I think that's one thing that really can't be missed in this whole thing. That we're a very young basketball team, and we have players on the floor that's playing for the first time at the collegiate level. And I think that kind of sometimes gets lost in the translation of being a good team. But that's what it's about. It's about having depth. It's about having good players and players want to play hard and compete.
And when you see this team play hard and compete the way that they have, I know we talk about the makeup of the team, and we've done that a lot before. Who have been your players that you've been able to lean on a little bit? I know it's been a collective effort, and you can say a lot about a lot of different players here, but I know that Miranda Drummond had 23 in the game against Clemson, and Gabrielle Cooper almost matched her there, having 22 there, so 45 of the 84 points that you had, more than half your points coming from them against Clemson. And then looking at the Virginia Tech game, Tiana, what she was able to do with almost 30 points in the game, just what you can say about some of those players that have stepped up and what they've done. And then also on the defensive side of it, where you've seen a lot of success and, obviously in the rebounds and what some of these players have done to take away possessions, especially in that Virginia Tech game.
Yeah, it's just our balance. You have certain nights when you have certain players that are playing well, and for us, we just want to have balance. We want to have depth, and I think that says a lot about that. Just our balance and our depth and our players who can step up on any given night and make plays. And right now, we have players that are really stepping up and making plays on any given night. So we're just really happy with that, and happy with the success of different players every night, because it says a lot about our talent level.
You have your first ACC game at home this coming Sunday, January 13th at 3 p.m. inside the Carrier Dome. It's going to be against North Carolina. The team is 9-7 overall. They lost both of their games inside of the ACC. At Louisville, they lost to the number 3 ranked Louisville Cardinals by a mere 7 points, and they lost to Florida State by 1 point, 64-63. Even though they haven't won those 2 games, you're seeing how close they're playing them, and you're seeing the fact that they're playing a top 3 team all the way to the wire until the end of the game. So what are you getting when you get North Carolina at home in the Dome?
You're getting a Hall of Fame coach with WNBA talent. It's just our conference. You can look at any team and say, they lost to whomever, but at the end of the day, you're losing to teams that have very good coaching and have WNBA caliber players. So you're never losing to bad teams in this conference. And that's what you can never lose sight of. You're playing against tough teams and great talent every night, and you just gotta come out and be ready to play. Carolina is that, but they play fast, they play up tempo, they push the ball at you, and they have really, really good guards. They have They have a post player who's a sophomore, but she plays more like a senior. And, you know, it's going to be a tough game. Every game is tough in this conference, and this one being no different.
And finishing up here with you, Coach Q, in our segment every single Wednesday at 10:30 a.m. right here on Wake Up Call. You talk about the conference and the success of the conference. When everybody, you know, from the outside looking in, the average fan, when you hear women's basketball, women's college basketball, UConn's the first name that you hear. But Notre Dame's at the top of the standings in the APN and the coaches poll. Louisville is second right behind them. The ACC has the top two spots, and UConn is number 3, and then you're not far behind there at number 12 with having, you know, a bunch of teams inside of the ACC in the top 12 of this. But Notre Dame's at the top and Louisville is second. What is that saying about the conference that, you know, it's easy to think UConn nationally, but it's Notre Dame that started 1, and they're back at 1 again, and Louisville just jumped up a spot to number 2.
It's crazy when you think of it like that. We have so many teams that are ranked in the top 15 or top 12 now in the country. That is crazy when you think of the success of our conference. And you know, it's just great competition. And we have situations where every night you have a chance to go out and to compete at a high level and get quality wins. So that's the challenge. Can you go out and take advantage of the opportunity in the lifetime of the opportunity, which is those 40 minutes of the game? So you're gonna have a chance, you know, and you got to make sure that you keep yourself in the situation to where you can win those games.
That coming from Coach Q, who has a game once again this Sunday, January 13th at 3 p.m. inside of the Carrier Dome. So make sure you go out and see him. First ACC game for Syracuse inside of the Dome this season. They are 2-0 in the ACC with 2 road wins, 13-2 overall, and only lost by 4 or less in their 2 losses this season to top 25 teams. Q, I know you and I will be at the PressRoom Pub soon enough, and every Wednesday here on the broadcast. So thank you for all you do. I know that recruiting-wise, you're on that grind right now, and I know that in the season you're doing what you got to do as well. So shout out to you and the staff for being 13-2, and I look forward to talking with you soon.
Thank you, Buffer. Appreciate it.